Imagine a life where fear no longer controls you, where you face every challenge with calmness and courage. What if the secret to that life was hidden in ancient teachings, followed for over 2,600 years? These Buddhist lessons are not just philosophy. They are a way of living, a path to understanding fear, transforming it, and rising above it. Today we'll discover 6 powerful truths through a story of someone who faced his deepest fear and found freedom on the other side. In a quiet village nestled in the lap of misty mountains, there lived a young man named Arjun. Though he had a kind heart and a sharp mind, he was haunted by fear. Fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of losing what he loved. His nights were restless, and his days heavy with worry. Every decision felt like a risk, every change felt like a threat. One day, after a stormy night full of anxious thoughts, Arjun heard of a wise old Buddhist monk who lived deep within the forest, far from noise, far from fear. Desperate for peace, Arjun packed his things and set off to find the monk. He walked for days through woods and rivers, until he finally reached a serene monastery carved into the mountain rock. There, sitting beneath a Bodhi tree, was the monk, old, calm and glowing with a gentle light in his eyes. "Master," Arjun said, falling to his knees, "I have come to ask one question. How do I stop being afraid?" The monk opened his eyes slowly, smiled, and said, "Then walk with me, and I will tell you a story, not of someone else, but your own." Lesson 1. Embrace impermanence. As they walked through the forest, the monk pointed to the trees. "Look at these leaves," he said. "Today they are green. Tomorrow they fall. Nothing stays the same. Not your joy, not your sorrow, not even your fear. Fear," he continued, "often comes when we try to hold on to what must pass. You fear losing your job, your youth, your loved ones, because you believe they are yours forever. But the truth is, everything changes. And once you see this clearly, fear loosens its grip." Arjun looked at the falling leaves and felt a strange comfort. If all things pass, then even this fear will too. Lesson 2. See the illusion of fear. Later they stopped near a riverbank. The monk asked Arjun to close his eyes and describe his biggest fear. "I'm afraid I'll fail," Arjun whispered, "that I'll make the wrong choice and ruin everything." The monk chuckled softly. "Fear is clever," he said. "It builds stories in the mind, stories that aren't even real. You store standing on a safe riverbank, but your mind is screaming about drowning. That's your fear," the monk said. "A thought. It comes. It stirs you and it fades. If you don't cling to it, see it, name it, but do not believe it." Lesson 3. Practice mindfulness. The next morning, the monk invited Arjun to sit quietly beneath the Bodhi tree. "Today we will do nothing but breathe," he said. They sat. Minutes passed. Arjun's mind raced at first, but then he began to notice the wind, the rustle of leaves, his own breath. "Fear lives in the past and future," the monk said softly, "but mindfulness brings you home to the now." And in the stillness of that moment, Arjun felt something he hadn't in years: peace. It wasn't that fear had vanished. It simply had no space in the calm awareness of the present. Lesson 4. Understand the nature of suffering. That afternoon, the monk took Arjun to a small village nearby, where a woman had just lost her husband. She wept, and Arjun stood frozen, unsure of what to say. The monk bowed and whispered to Arjun, "This is the truth of life. Everyone suffers. Everyone fears. You are not alone in your pain." Arjun watched as the monk sat beside the woman in silence, offering presence, not answers. "It's the beginning of healing," the monk said later. "To realize suffering is part of being human. When you stop fighting it, fear begins to dissolve." Arjun felt lighter. For the first time, he didn't feel broken. He felt connected. Lesson 5. Let go of attachment. On their way back, they passed a young man polishing a golden idol in his garden. He was obsessed, afraid that someone would steal it. "Attachment creates fear," the monk said. "When you cling to something, wealth, people, identity, you fear losing it." Arjun nodded. He had always feared failure because he tied his worth to success. He was attached to his image of being the perfect, habit, or the worthy. "But let go," the monk said, "and you stare free. You still care, you still love, but you stare not afraid of loss, because you don't depend on it to be whole." That night, Arjun let go of many thoughts he had carried for years, and for the first time he slept peacefully. Lesson 6. Cultivate patience. Days passed, And Arjun grew restless. "Why don't I feel fearless yet?" he asked. The monk smiled. "A tree doesn't grow in a day, nor does courage." He pointed to a bamboo shoot. "For years it grows underground before ever rising. You too are growing where no one sees. Be patient. Let fear come and go. Let your practice deepen. Fear fades, not in haste, but in presence." Moral of the story: fear is not something to be destroyed. It's something to be understood. Most people try to escape it, suppress it, or fight it. But real transformation begins when we stop running and start listening. Whenever we start something new, a business, a dream project, a relationship, or even just speaking up for ourselves, fear shows up. What if I fail? What if people laugh at me? What if I'm not good enough? These are the whispers of fear. But Arjun's story reminds us fear isn't your enemy. It's your guide. Fear often appears right before growth. It comes not to block your path, but to ask you, are you ready to rise? The fear of failure, for example, only shows you how much you care. It means you're stepping outside your comfort zone, and that's where real change happens. Just like Arjun, when we observe fear without reacting, when we breathe through it, sit with it, and understand its root, we begin to see clearly. We realize that fear is just a shadow, and shadows disappear when we shine the light of awareness. Every great journey, every meaningful goal, begins with uncertainty, but those who walk with fear, not against it, discover strength they never knew they had. So the next time you're afraid to start, afraid to fail, or afraid to be judged, pause, smile, say to your fear, "Thank you for showing me what matters. I see you, now let's move forward together."